All right, you guys, so Battlefield 2042 has got some news you guys do not want to miss out on. The lead game designer Drunksy responds to a Battlefield community member that has concerns regarding crouch spamming. The community manager for BF 2042 talks about weekly missions and asks some questions regarding our expectations for the missions, which will hopefully lead to some much needed improvements to the weekly mission system. The Battlefield 2042 subreddit's making the rounds with a potential lockdown due to toxicity, and we're also going to go over when we should expect to see the next update for Battlefield 2042. Hey, what's up everyone? Wes here. Welcome back to another Battlefield 2042 news video. Starting things off, I'd like to talk about a tweet thread from a user named Sergeant Danger Cow, who is a community member of the Battlefield community. And they tweeted a video showcasing recoil pattern and specifically how it resets while you're crouched. They tweeted out this, and I quote, "May need looking at. Currently, if you crouch while firing, you essentially reset your vertical recoil. So if you practiced enough, you would just need an H recoil attachment and then do this in every engagement." To which the lead game designer Drunksy responded, "When the world needed him most, he returned," replying with this, and I quote, "There isn't really anything wrong. When you go crouch, the camera translates downwards, which moves the point of aim down like any FPS. Recoil pitches the camera upwards as you fire, which is also expected." He then went on to state that in this case scenario, when you are firing at an object pretty close, and it just happened that when you crouch, the camera moved down enough to more or less move your sight close enough to where your first shot was hitting. It would probably be a different thing if you fired at something further away or with a different weapon / different attachments. That behavior is not really any different than previous Battlefield games and most FPS games for that matter. To which Danger Cow responded, "I see your points, but if I may raise this concern, that the crouch spam in close quarters we are seeing may be related to this factor, although others may influence it. And if I remember correctly, those changes were made because of ADAD spam in Battlefield 5, or as we call it, ENAS. Would this not be a similar issue?" To which Florian responded that, "I think if there was an issue with crouch spam, then the way to solve it would be to address the spam specifically, diminishing returns or something like this. I don't think what you outlined here is really what causes a problem with crouch spam." Real quick guys, I'm giving away a copy of Battlefield 2042 and a PlayStation 5. To enter, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter, comment your Twitter handle, make sure I can contact you. The winner will be announced at 55,000 subscribers. Next up, we're going to talk about a tweet from the Battlefield 2042 community manager Kevin Johnson. They tweeted out this: "Let's have a chat about weekly missions in Battlefield 2042. What are your expectations from these missions? Also the rewards. Which have you liked / disliked so far? The goals may be simple and they aim to encourage team play activities. What goals would you like to see?" A user by the name of Nick930 replied to Total FPS and said this: "I think awarding more interesting skins for weapons / characters is a must. We've ignored several weekly missions simply because these skins look too simple. All gray bolt skin. I don't want crazy neon colors or anything, but cool outfits for characters would be nice." To which Kevin responded, "How many weeks would you expect something as large as a new outfit for a specific specialist, weapon, or vehicle? So far it's been 2 weapons, 1 vehicle, and 1 weapon charm." Content creator Lossy responded with this, stating, "Cosmetics that alter the weapon or vehicle, please. Not just a skin / color change, more in-depth stuff that alters the shape and complete look of something. Custom woodland or battered from Battlefield 5 as examples." To which the community manager responded, "Singular cosmetics for a single weapon, i.e. week 1 or 2, or universal camo. A model that drastically alters 22 all-out warfare weapons sounds a bit of a mind-blowing task." And then brings the discussion of how often would you expect those on a free basis. Another user responded with, "I'd like to see weapon charms, player cards, and titles. Maybe some skins for characters as well, or at least universal camo for them all." To which Kevin replied, "What are your expectations of a universal camo? Something as substantial as week 1, or simply a brand new camo? There are large differences to take into consideration, and as big as week 1 would take a lot more time." To which another user responded, "To be honest, just make the AI skin available for each specific class. The specialist is already grouped in assault, engineer, and recon and support classes on the specialist screen. So here are my thoughts to improve the weekly missions. Either the weekly missions need to be a tiered system where the first tier should grant you the reward / cosmetic that you would get for unlocking a normal weekly challenge. And then for tier 2, the requirements need to reset, but if you complete the tier 2 challenges, then that would grant you tier 2 experience. And then for tier 3, if you unlock those challenges, then it would grant you even more experience. So as it stands right now, all of the weekly missions we've had for the last 5 weeks have been super easy to complete. If the goal of the weekly missions are to promote squad play, then the goal should be to continue that for the rest of the week. So if you reward people for continuing to grind the different tiers of the weekly missions, then that would mean the objective-based challenges would continue for the rest of the time. For instance, if I get a weapon cosmetic for the first tier and then 10,000 XP for tier 3 for completing, let's say, 30 revives or 30 objectives captured, then that would further incentivize people to play the objective as well as their support role. Moving right along, the Battlefield 2042 subreddit is making the rounds, and according to VG247, the main subreddit has gotten so toxic that it may shut down. In a thread posted by the mod team, they said this, and I quote, "Over the past few days, we have seen insults, harassment, and vile comments directed towards members of our community and DICE employees. We are making a statement to give you a fair warning that we will not tolerate this anymore. We are letting you know what your options are in regards to how this subreddit functions in the coming days." They went on to say that it's an understatement when we say this subreddit has grown incredibly toxic. It's near impossible to have a simple discussion without insults being flung around at each other, and it's really starting to harm the entire Battlefield community and each of us that are a part of it. We mods have been very laid back as far as moderation goes. We try our best to let everyone's voice be heard, no matter how upset or angry, but we've always been in the position that insults or harassment directed towards any individual will not be tolerated. They went on to say that with that being said, here are the options we are considering. Option 1, if toxicity goes down, we will leave the subreddit open without further restrictions. Option 2, if toxicity stays at its current levels, we will begin locking threads early on a majority of posts. And option 3, if toxicity increases, we will lock down the subreddit for a period of time. The last two options are nuclear and we don't want to use them, but we said we will do whatever it takes to drive the current toxicity levels down. So here's my take on the matter. I think the discussion should be had, and people do deserve to criticize the developers and publishers of Battlefield 2042, but the criticism should be constructive and not extremely toxic. At the end of the day, I don't really browse Reddit or Twitter as much often because in my opinion, they kind of turned into a cesspool, and I'm just not interested in engaging in those discussions and letting it ruin my day. Moving right along, I'd like to talk about when we should expect to see the next update for BF 2042. Well, as you guys know, we didn't get an update last week, and it's safe to assume that all of the developers are back from vacation. Even Drunksy's tweeting out now, so I would assume that the best time to have an update would be sometime this next week, likely on Thursday, January 13th. With how much time the developers have had to work on this next update, I really hope that it's substantial because we desperately need it to be. But guys, that's gonna wrap it up with today's Battlefield 2042 news. Guys, I'm giving away a PlayStation 5 and a copy of BF 2042. To enter, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel, follow me on Twitter, comment your Twitter handle. The winner will be announced at 55,000 subscribers. Do me a favor, guys, leave a like on this video, and don't forget to check back again tomorrow for another Battlefield 2042 news video.